Hi friends! So, today I watched episode 7, I think, of Steven Universe, and it was called Bubble Buddies. And I had been waiting for this episode for a while because they kept showing the character that gets introduced in this one in the opening, and I kept seeing like all these things online from my friends who watch the show about how cute they are and blah blah blah. Well, anyway, in this episode, Steven's, I guess you could call her love interest, was introduced, and her name is Connie, and she's really cute and very down to earth and honest, I believe. So that's good. I got a pretty good impression of her. So yeah, I like her very much. And I'm kind of glad that, you know, she was represented in, like, not a generic love interest way. Like, in a lot of shows with a male protagonist, the female love interest kind of gets portrayed in this way that, like, she's too good for him kind of thing. But they didn't do that here. Connie seemed very realistic and like a girl you would actually meet and not like out of his league or whatever. So I like that. But anyway, so in this episode, it's called Bubble Buddies because Steven basically creates this force field around him and Connie because she was about to get crushed by a boulder and he saved her. So, yay for his powers coming in handy. But he didn't know how to turn it off and they kind of got stuck in there together. Which you could say is fortunate for him since he likes her. But, yeah. So they spend the entirety of the episode trying to figure out how to get out of the bubble. And unfortunately, Steven like lives on a hill, and they can't really roll up the hill, so they have to find help elsewhere. They go to Lars, and I think her name is Sandy. And for the longest time, I kind of thought those two were brother and sister with the way they acted, but apparently not, because Steven kind of implies that they're like dating or something. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell because Connie was like, do they really get along? And Steven was like, they're crazy about each other while they were like in the middle of an argument, so hard to say. But anyway, so that was an interesting line. I kind of thought that was funny. But what was really funny was the next person they turned to was, I don't know if he's supposed to be a kid or something, considering he knew how to run the harpoon gun. But yeah, they turned to him for help, and I thought this part was so funny, and I don't know why. Basically, the harpoon just bounces right off of the bubble, and it hits a boat that's like right next to them, and the boat starts sinking. I know that's like kind of morbid, but I thought it was funny. And no one was on the boat at the time, so it's not like anyone died, so I'm allowed to laugh. I am allowed to laugh at that. No one died, no one got hurt, right? But yeah, it was funny. And I forget. Oh, that's right. They went to the amusement park, and Steven has this crazy idea of having the roller coaster hit them and hope that breaks them free, but it didn't. It propelled them into the ocean. And let me just say, I am thanking my lucky stars that they did not show a whale while they were underwater, because I would have flipped out. Okay? So Thank you, animators of Steven Universe, for not putting a stupid whale in the scene where they're underwater. I got scared there for a minute because of the sound effects that giant worm was making, but thank God it was a giant worm and not a whale. I'm okay with giant worms. Okay? I know that's weird, but I'm okay with giant worms, not whales. So anyway, the giant worm comes by and it's eating this glowy, shiny seaweed stuff. And it kind of like knocks them into a chasm, and they're sitting in the chasm, and Steven's like, yeah, I first saw you at this parade last year and you dropped your bracelet and I've been saving it all this time to give it back to you. And it's like, oh, that's so sweet. It kind of reminds me of that anime trope where, like, a character borrows another character's handkerchief and they have to return it to them or whatever. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of that, but, yeah, it was really sweet. The bubble randomly pops and they go back up to the surface of the ocean, and then the giant worm attacks them because apparently it wants Connie's bracelet because it eats glowy stuff, so it thinks that her bracelet is the glowy seaweed stuff. And so I kind of thought that it was clever how Steven took down the monster, because he like really showed off his smarts in that he figured out that the worm was specifically going after the bracelet, and he takes it away from Connie to make sure she's safe, and he like, you know, runs around until the worm kind of ties itself into a knot, which I know is cliche in cartoons, but come on. It was still pretty cool how he took that thing down. 'Cause the knot didn't technically take it down, it was the knot, and it kind of broke the foundations of the boardwalk, and the boardwalk came down on it, and then it exploded / evaporated, which was a really cool effect. But like, the whole time during that fight, I kind of noticed that the sound effect that they were using for the giant worm is, I'm pretty sure, the same sound effect that was used for Plasmius or whatever in Teen Titans, which I freaking love Teen Titans. You all know I freaking love Teen Titans, so yeah, that made me kind of happy. But yeah, it was really a cool fight scene, and I'm glad to see Steven is starting to kind of, you know, hold his own with fighting things and figure out his magic a little more, you know. It's pretty cool. Character development and all that. But yeah, at the end of the episode, the gems come out and they're like, what did you do? Blah, 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 blah. And, okay, Garnet is, like, still my favorite. She is so badass. I love how, like, Pearl and Amethyst are, like, hassling Steven, kind of, like, embarrassing him in front of Connie, like, oh, introduce us. You were real excited to meet her, blah, blah, blah. And then Garnet comes up, picks them both up in her arms, like, right underneath her frickin' armpit on each arm. And she's like, hey, don't mess with his funky flow. And I'm like, I love you. Garnet is the best. She is amazing. Well, technically they're genderless, but oh my god, Garnet is amazing. Oh my god. So yes, Garnet is my favorite out of the 3 main crystal gems for now. That might change in the future, considering I know there's some like deep stuff that happens later with each of them, you know. But yeah, Garnet's a badass. That is all. So yeah, gotta say, this one's probably my new favorite episode that I've seen so far, because it had everything I liked. It had a non-generic love interest, good. It had a cohesive story, good. Good pacing, obviously good. Cool animation effects / sound effects. Um, I really like the quote unquote fight scene, even though he didn't really fight it, he kind of just like outsmarted it, but you know. And the humor was pretty good too, so you know, yeah. I liked this one a lot, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So until the next one, I will see you there. Sorry I didn't have many conversation tangents in this one like I normally do, but, um, you know, this wasn't really an episode that brought out like a rant or a memory for me. It was just like, oh, good episode. Good. So anyway, until next time, bye.